Welcome to Bear With Us, the podcast where two women bravely explore the High Line.
One charming town and quirky event at a time.
We're here for the people, the stories, and the small moments that make this place special.
And don't worry, zero bears.
Probably. Welcome back to Bear With Us, the podcast from Bear Paw Development, where we highlight the people, projects, and partnerships shaping North Central Montana. I'm Julea, and today Sarah is out sick, so co-hosting with me is Stephanie Larson.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and today we're heading to campus to talk about the future of MSU Northern and how investment in higher education impacts not just students, but our entire region.
We're joined by Melanie Skoyen, Managing Director of the Northern Alumni Foundation.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. The foundation plays a vital role in supporting students, strengthening alumni, and making connections, and advocating major initiatives that move the university forward.
One of those major initiatives right now is the campaign to renovate Morgan Hall, a building with deep roots on campus and an important role in MSU Northern's future.
Melanie, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to talk about the foundation's work, what's next, what this next chapter means for Northern, and we do have a pressing question I want to address right now. So, if a bear were to enroll in MSU Northern, what do you think its major would be?
Well, let's see. I think probably welding. I think a bear would look really cute in one of those welding helmets.
It really would. That's so cute. I love that. Welding. That's awesome. Okay, so we want to start off our interview by just getting to know you a little bit more. So, can you tell us about yourself? What's your background? How did you come to Northern? What's your connection to MSU Northern?
Okay, so I grew up in Southern California. I was raised in a little beach town called San Clemente. Graduated from San Clemente High, and I was always very involved in athletics. And so I had just made a decision probably my junior year that I wanted to play volleyball in college, and I was really heavily recruited by MSU Northern. And I didn't really want to leave California, but
And come to freezing cold Montana.
but I thought, "Oh, I'll just give it a try." And, Lisa Hanley was the coach that recruited me, and I came up on my recruiting visit, and I fell in love. I remember the drive from Great Falls to Havre was so beautiful. Just seeing open fields and blue skies was something I wasn't really used to. And, of course, the people were just so genuine and kind, and I thought, "Yeah, I could do this for 4 years." And now here I am, still here 24 years later, and I'm proud to call North Central Montana my home.
I think you're probably one of the only people that I've heard that's not from here that thinks that the drive from Great Falls to Havre is beautiful. I think it's beautiful, but we hear all the time from tourists like, "Oh, that is just such a long, straight drive."
Yes, it is, and I still see so much beauty every time, and I feel so blessed to live here.
So, what drew you to the role with the Northern Alumni Foundation? I mean, knowing that you're an alumni, I mean, other than that, what was the pull?
So I actually have had a couple other jobs. Right when I graduated from Northern, I had an opportunity to work in cardiac rehab as an exercise specialist. I was there for 10 years and I loved it. Just the relationships I made there and the good work we were doing for our patients.
I actually took classes from Mel. I did a yoga class with her.
Oh
She
my
was
gosh.
you were a great instructor.
Oh,
That's
It's
so
so much
fun.
fun.
thank you. I know those classes are great. So I really, I loved that job but I ended up moving to Chinook. And so just the commute, and I had 2 little kids. I didn't really want to continue doing that. So I took a job at Chinook Vet and also had, a wonderful time working there. I worked for Bob and Maureen Schmidt and they were so great to me and I loved that job, but I was just ready to do something different. And I was actually in D.A. Davidson talking to Ricky Brown, and he said, "Hey, Mel, I'm on the board for the foundation, and I think you should really apply for this job. We're looking for an outreach coordinator. You would be planning events and hosting tailgate parties." And I thought, "Yeah, that sounds like my dream job." So I went home and started writing out my application and submitting my resume, and I actually took it into the foundation that afternoon.
Wow, and when was that? What year?
That was 2022.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yes.
amazing. So then, the director position came up when?
That must it well, it was, November has been 1 year since I've been the director, and it's been great. I still get to be very involved in the event planning, and I really enjoy that aspect, but the whole role of getting out to go visit alumni is just it's been so rewarding, and the relationship building that takes place, the stories and the history of Northern that I'm learning have just been so valuable and really keep me going. Like, it's so it's just so nice to hear so many people that have the same story. You know, I continually hear, "I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for Northern," and they can reminisce on a professor that just went above and beyond to make sure that they were gonna graduate, that they were gonna succeed, and that they really had those resources to make sure that they could get there.
I feel like a lot of people's, college career really ends up defining their life because not only are you getting, the degree in the field that you're probably going to end up in for most, if not all of your life, but you make those, like, deep friendships and connections, and I just feel like so many people look back on their college career as, like, the good old days, and some people that's high school, but I think the people that look back on college are more interesting, so
I'm trying to remember. I transferred to Northern, I believe it was your last year because I met you while you were a student, 'cause you were the same year as my sister, that's how I met you.
Right.
So I'm trying to remember, I graduated in '09, but I feel like you've had such a presence with Northern that I'm very shocked to find out that you held a position in 2022. It feels like you've been there forever. You've just been so involved with Northern since you left. Would you say that's totally
Yeah,
true?
that is true. I love the athletics. I think it's so great for this whole community that we can go watch such skilled athletes play at such a high level, and it's very entertaining for me. I did coach 1 year at Northern also. I was the assistant volleyball coach in 2018, and I feel like that really drew me back too. It was then that I realized how much the school means to me and how fun it is to take my kids and go to games, and so I feel like athletics has always really kept me connected.
So, for those who may not be super familiar with the Northern Alumni Foundation, can you tell us about what your mission is and what you do for Northern and for the community in general?
So our main focus is to create scholarships. We want to give students as many opportunities as they can for a good education. And by connecting with alumni and engaging them with what we're doing, because they've all had such a positive experience, they're more than happy to pay it forward and give back to the next generation.
And you don't just do scholarships, obviously. You guys get to go and do fun things, right? So, how do you go about that?
We do. So a lot of our events are we have 2 fundraising events that we do every year, which are time consuming, but worth the while. We just got done with our We Love Northern Ball, and there's a lot involved in that, but I do think it's fun for the community to get to dress up and celebrate Northern. It feels more of a celebration. There's a very small portion of fundraising. We like to really do a nice dinner and live music and just a chance for people to come back and remember why they're a part of Northern and just support our students. And then our other event that we do is our alumni auction in the fall, and that's our paddle raise. That is a very back fundraiser. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of organized chaos with the dollar auction, but I know a lot of people really look forward to that, and that's usually an event that sells out also. But yeah, both of those fundraising events take a lot of work, but it's fun, and we get to come together with our staff, our team of 4, and bounce ideas off each other and just let creativity take its course. And then we started doing, more tailgates. I know when I had first started at the foundation, they just did 1 tailgate a year, usually at homecoming, and that was something that our board said, "This is an opportunity to really cultivate alumni and build more relationships, more connections." So now we do a tailgate at every home football game. Yes, but we got a new shed last year, and so that takes out half the work because all of our tables and everything, our barbecues are just there and ready to go. We don't have to haul everything up. And yeah, they've been wonderful. I've gotten to meet so many people in a relaxed setting, and it's been really good. I am blown away with how loyal Northern fans are. It can be 20 below
They're gonna
yes,
be
and
there.
They're there.
leaning sideways, and yeah.
I thought it was so interesting. I worked over, at the chamber when they were first fundraising and, for the new stadium, and I know the foundation was a huge part of that, and, when the project got brought up to the chamber, I was like, is that really worth it? You know, is that gonna be worth the work? Are people gonna show up to Northern games? Oh, yeah. Holy moly. I live a block away from the stadium, and it's it's hard pressed to find parking, during Northern games because people are parking anywhere they can find, and I love that because so much work got put into that, so much money, and I know it's not done yet. But it's so good to see everyone out and supporting, and most of them are Northern alumni, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it is really a good thing. And then another thing that we started doing more is our alumni socials. And I just we try to spread it out and go to different towns throughout Montana, send out postcards, invite people to come back for more of a reunion. We try to do it at a brewery or a wine bar, just a nice casual setting where people can come and just, again, get to meet our alumni, connect with them, engage, let them know what we're doing on campus and how much we appreciate their support throughout the years.
So let's talk about the Morgan Hall and kind of the renovation that's going on and the campaign that you're doing. What makes this building so important to the Northern's campus?
So Morgan Hall is our residence hall for all of our male students, but it has such a large common area. So I feel that a lot of students from Mackenzie Hall come down and that's kind of their hangout spot. And it kind of started back when we had one of our golden graduation events. I think it was my first year as the outreach coordinator. And I had taken the golden grads on a campus tour and we went through Morgan Hall and the comments were, "Oh my, this building hasn't changed in 50 years. I think this is the same furniture that we had when we were students."
Oh my
Oops.
gosh.
Which is cool for them,
Yeah.
but probably not cool for everyone living there.
Right. So it really clicked that we need to invest in this building. We need to be able to compete with other campuses when we're recruiting students. And I get to know our students so well when we do our events because they volunteer at our events. Our students are awesome, and
That
they
is awesome. They volunteer.
yes,
Yes, it's amazing.
they're just really good. They're great people, and they wanna help, and they deserve to have a nice place to live. I think that it would help so much with retention, with engagement. Phase 1 is mainly focused on the common areas. There's a great big room right now that could be utilized in such a better way and really encourage students to come out of their dorm rooms, get off the video games, and actually engage with one another.
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, part of getting people to have such a great college experience is connecting them, right?
Mhm.
And connecting them with their peers is probably harder than it used to be. When, no one had the video games and the reason to sit in their dorm room all day because it was lonely. That's not quite the case anymore. So That's really, really neat that you guys are putting such a priority on that.
Yes. And what we're improving are the entrances and the security features. We have a shared kitchen, and that obviously needs to be much bigger with some more counter space. It's the kitchen right now is it's just not real inviting. And so that's our main focus. One of the main focuses, the bathrooms, the study rooms, and then the game rooms and gathering spaces.
Awesome. And what does that look like as for cost? Where are you guys finding the funds to be able to do that? I know that's one of our biggest problems in every project that we do is, we have these wonderful, great ideas, but where do you find the money?
So far all the donations have come in, private donations from donors and alumni, and we did have a lead gift that really got us going. There was a gentleman that left part of his estate to Northern.
Oh my gosh,
Yes, so that was such a blessing and really was a kickstart for this campaign.
that's
So yeah,
amazing.
that's great.
Yes.
Has it been a lot of legwork to get everybody else, getting on board and getting all the funds, or have people been quite excited about it?
A lot of people are excited. A lot of alumni keep saying that they're happy to give to this. They know this is something that's been really needed for a long time, and it's powerful to see former students giving back to improve the same halls that they once lived in.
I love that. Ah, that's so cool. Good on everybody. I mean, that is amazing to be able to give back. And I know not everybody has the funds available to do that, but for the people that do and that choose to give back, thank you. Truly thank
Yes,
you.
exactly,
Absolutely.
thank you, we're so grateful, and we're so close to hitting that mark. We've already established an architect, he's drawn up beautiful plans, we've shared that on our Facebook page of what they have envisioned for the space, and it's moving along, I think, right on track. There's still a couple approvals that need to go through Board of Regents, and then he'll draw up the construction plans, and that'll go out to bid. And if everything goes well, we're hoping that they can start construction end of the spring.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's perfect. And then are you hoping to have it all finished and ready to go by the time students come back in the fall?
It won't be done by when they come back in the fall, but the architect had mentioned because it's common spaces, they should be able to just close off areas as needed. He thinks construction would take about 5 months. So the goal is by December it to be complete, which yeah, it will be wonderful.
That's
There's a
exciting.
beauty with that because then they can see that there's going to be changes and they can start the semester, and then by the time they get back from Christmas break,
It's
it'll
a
be a
Christmas present.
it yeah.
That's
Yes,
Oh,
so cool.
yes, that would be great.
That's
Perfect.
amazing. So you said that's phase 1.
phase 1,
What's
yes.
after that?
Individual dorm rooms themselves. They also need a lot of TLC, new beds, and dorm furniture. Um, the school itself, the university has gone through and they do about 10 rooms a year in the summertime. They're limited with the time that they don't have students living there. So they'll do what they can. They've gone in and replaced flooring in some of the rooms and windows in some of the rooms, but it's safe to say that every room needs all of those updates done.
That's a lot.
That is.
That's a big project.
So after the rooms, is that complete? Just phase 1, phase 2?
Yes,
Wow.
and I mean, there's always it's always just nice to if people wanna keep donating and giving to this, there's always more that can be done. I don't know if you remember living did you live in McKinsey?
Mm-mm, I did not.
Because you're from
Yeah,
Havre.
I'm from Havre, yep. Yep.
So even McKinsey Hall, they've had updates in the last 10 years, and it's a huge improvement for what it was, but even their beds, we've gone in and done tours, and I think that those are time for an upgrade also.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I feel like when people are living, basically full time somewhere, you're gonna need to upgrade quite often. You can't do that without the funds for it. I mean, I think people forget sometimes that money doesn't just come out of thin air. It has to be given or, donated or, you have to find it through grants. The state doesn't just give the universities money.
Right.
I mean, I wish that's how it worked, but it's just not. So,
Mhm.
please, anybody that's listening, just remember that these things don't happen, on their own.
Yes, exactly, and thank you for that, and because it is considered auxiliary, that's that's the one reason why it
And
does have to be privately
can you
funded.
explain that a little bit? What auxiliary means and how that affects the funding for it?
So anything that's not directly geared towards education.
Okay. Okay. So the dorm living sub, like
Gym.
the gym.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's
And
crazy.
there are you can still find grants for those, it's just much harder.
Sure. Yeah, well, and that's really difficult, right? Because you can't have a college, you can't have the education portion without the students,
Mhm.
and the students have to live somewhere, There's certainly not enough off-campus housing, um, so that's difficult, really, really difficult, and personally, I would like to live somewhere that is a little cozy, so
Yes. And I do believe that this will help with recruiting so much. Um, that's one thing when I sit in on advisory board meetings with industry partners, they are so pleased when they hire a Northern student. They're capable, they're job ready, they have the maturity, and we're just not producing enough students for them. They want more. They need more welders and plumbers and electricians, and it's we just if we can get more students on campus, then we can fill more jobs and
Right. That benefits
it
everybody.
does. Well, I know that, is it the diesel degree? I can't remember. There's a couple of degrees that have, like, 100% placement rate
yes.
from Northern, which is unheard of at most colleges.
Wow.
Yes, and some of our professors and deans will even say a 300% because some students have 3 job offers when they're graduating.
Oh, wow.
Whoa! I wish that I would have had that. Should've gone to Northern. Darn it.
And
You
then
can
get a
always come
welding
back.
degree.
Yeah, there you go. I'll get my master's up there. I love that. So can you tell us how investing in campus facilities like Morgan Hall, benefits the broader Havre and Highline area?
I think just like we talk about, there's actually there's several business owners in Havre that just same as our industry partners, they want people to come to college here and stay here and build a family and make Havre their home. And just like I did, I never imagined 20 years ago that I would graduate and stay here. I was ready to leave. I was ready to go back to warmer weather. But obviously God wants me here, and I'm glad to be here, and I really feel that the students that come here, once they give Havre a chance, realize what an awesome community this is.
Yes.
Absolutely. I feel like, we see a lot of people we hear a lot of stories like that of, we came to Havre and we stayed in Havre and, I feel like in that way, Northern gives to our community tenfold, and, it's really important that our community notices that, cherishes that, and then gives it back. Because I know that Northern, over the last 5 or 6 years has really tried very hard, to make the connections in the community, and I think it's time that our community notices that and
Yes.
gives back.
Yes.
Well, we did this fall, we had the fundraiser for Have Beneath the Streets, and there was 2 or 3 families from Northern football players that came in to do the tour. So they really do sustain our economy here. They boost every
Ah,
time there's a game, their family comes to town. So it is something that brings people to Havre in the fall, actually through the winter. There are games almost all year or yeah, just about. So you really boost our economy by bringing people to town.
100%.
Mhm. And we're the only university on the High Line. So,
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot of space, and Northern really it is important. I couldn't imagine what we would be in this town if we didn't have Northern.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like it's such a huge economic driver, um, and it keeps people here, which is nice.
So, how can individuals, businesses, and alumni contribute to support this Morgan Hall renovation campaign?
So if you go to our website, it's msunfoundation.org. Right at the very top of our homepage, we have an online donation form. And then people can also stop by our office. We love having visitors. We are on the third floor of Town Hall and room 307. And we also, anytime if people ever have questions or wanna just visit more about this, they can call me directly at 406-390-4350.
Great.
Love that. And is there any way that people can get involved if it's not necessarily monetarily?
Yeah. So this is something that we've really been talking about, again, when I go to advisory board meetings or even after I've been talking with some people in our recruiting department. There's something really awesome that Northern does, and it's called Adopt a Light or Adopt a Skylight, and it's something that's only done for our athletes, and I have to give a shout out to my parents, Mary and Buzz Pizzini. They are amazing. It's the people that they connect you with as an athlete. It was so helpful for me when I was homesick, when I couldn't believe that I was, just kind of in the middle of nowhere, Montana, didn't have any family here, and they were amazing to me, and they still are. They're still very involved in my life,
I
and
see you all
so
the time with Mary. Yes.
yeah, so that program, I think, is so important for our athletes, and we've talked more about alumni mentorship for non-athletes as well. So that is something that I really I'm focused on, how I go about doing this. And, we've talked about maybe just sending out an email or doing even an alumni social and pairing that, collaborating that with a recruiting social so that our alumni can talk to our prospective students that are thinking about coming to Northern and just figuring out ways that we can do more mentorship with our alumni.
I love that idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's so neat.
I would adopt a welder. That would be cool.
No,
That sounds that sounds handy.
I
Or a
it's
mechanic. Scratch the welder. I'll take a mechanic.
you you need someone to come in and fix things. I love that. Oh my goodness. Is there anybody that would like to babysit a 7-year-old?
A nurse. Take a
Yes, a
nurse.
nurse, yes.
This is a great idea, Mel.
I was just this, like, thought went through my mind of, like, I can't adopt a light. That's my age. No, it's not.
No.
Not even close. Oops. I think that is really neat. I knew so many people growing up that participated in the Adopt a Light program, and so I got to have a lot of, lights and skylights in my life growing up, and that was really, really fun. Um, I think that age group of, not only 18 to 21-year-olds go to college, but a lot do, and I think they're just fascinating human beings at that age. Um, and just really cool. I know that my daughter looks up to the lights and skylights so much. They go to her school every now and then, and every time she gets to meet one, "I met a real basketball player today." Like, "Oh boy."
I know they're like celebrity status when they come to the school. So anytime they can go to the public schools or the Boys and Girls Club, which they do, and it's incredible for our community.
Yeah, it's so cute. I love it. That is so exciting. So, what excites you most about the future of MSU Northern? Besides this Morgan Hall project, we know how exciting that is, but what other projects do you have going on? Is there anything new that you are excited to see?
So we recently had a new science research endowment established, and it was first spearheaded by Roger and Darlene Pugh. They're out of Fort Benton. They're actually brother and sister, and they've just been lifetime supporters of Northern. Darlene was an alum, and she was a science major, taught science in, I think, high school, I believe. But anyways, they they really just see the importance of research. Another thing that would really draw maybe even out of state students to come here, and the funds would pay for consumables, research materials, traveling to conferences to present their research. And so they were really passionate about getting this started. And then one of our board members, Tim Wynn, him and his wife Kristen, fully supported this. Said this is, he's been waiting for something like this at Northern as well. And so he says, I'll match up to $100,000 of whatever you guys raise.
Wow.
Yes.
That's not a little bit of money.
Right.
Holy.
Right.
So generous.
Yes, so generous, and in about a year's time, we already have that up over 100,000, so he's already matched 50,000, and there's still potential for another 50,000 more of matching.
That is
Incredible.
so cool. That is amazing. Good. Wow. That's very big. I wish I had $100,000 to just give away. That's so cool.
Well, it's a match. You can give even $5, Julia.
There you go. You're right.
That's right, any little bit
I
helps.
will match up to $10.
Okay, so I already have a donor
Yeah.
and an adoptive parent.
What a productive day this is. When the renovation is complete, what do you hope students will feel when they walk into Morgan Hall?
Valued. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, just knowing how much they matter, how much I think it's so awesome when a young adult really wants to invest in their education.
right.
And we always talk about Northern, like, we're not like your party school. Kids are here, or I shouldn't say kids because, like you said, they're not all kids, but students are really here to focus on their education. They're here to go to class, get it done, and start a career. So I hope that they feel valued.
That's an awesome answer.
Yeah, that was fast and perfect. I mean, an absolutely perfect answer. I hope that the community sees the value in this too, because I wanna be valued, and that's amazing. I mean, that was perfect. That makes me
Yes.
wanna cry. Where can our listeners go to just get more involved? I know that you said, your website. Is there an MSU Northern page that they can go to as well if they wanna, get more involved in Northern and not just the Alumni Foundation? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess if they I think probably we're the best stepping stone. We can help them with whatever they really wanna be involved in. Another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is our fan committee, and that's friends and alumni of Northern. So you don't have to be an alum to help out with events or mentorship. Anyone that's also a big fan or friend of Northern can
That's
be involved
cute.
as well.
So cute. Are you guys looking for volunteers for things? I know you've got your big events, your tailgating. I mean, do you need volunteers that are not necessarily students?
Yes, we would always take more volunteers. We have a great crew right now. I have several ladies and 2 guys that when we do events, they'll come in and transform whatever venue we're using and make it look beautiful, and they're so quick. I can't even hardly keep up with assigning them different jobs. They're great, and they love to do it. But we usually meet once a month, and it's a very casual meeting. We meet at Vic's a lot. Um, we've also gone to the boardroom, but we, a lot of our meetings could probably be done through email, but it's fun to just get together. And like I said, the people that are currently on the meeting are so creative, and they've been here for the long haul. They remember it when it was Montana State, or sorry, Northern Montana College.
Yes.
Northern, yeah.
And so it's nice to see them, you know, see that sometimes change needs to be made, but also look back 20 years ago of what was really successful, and it's just nice to have that history.
I think one of the biggest things from growing up here in Havre, majority of my family actually went to Northern, but the fact of not necessarily things staying the same or them not changing, but it's more or less loyalty. That's even with the high school too, it's the same thing, but I think the thing to remember is that, um, the feeling that you get is a loyalty to Northern, so make
Mhm.
sure that it keeps going.
Yeah, you can honor your history and still be so excited for the future.
Right.
Mm. Yeah, I hope that Northern continues to grow and change in different ways, and, I feel like there's always new things that we don't necessarily, think about today that are gonna be wonderful for the future. Stephanie did tell me a little tidbit about when she was going to college about getting to choose the, um,
The
the
mascot.
mascot.
I was wondering if
Oh.
I remember it was my first semester here, and they were or at Northern, and they were trying to pick the mascot, and we got to vote. Were you there when they did you vote? Were you
I
there when they did it?
I don't remember voting ever. I do remember the polar bears,
Yeah.
and they still bring those out once in a while. When we do our Aurora Borealis festival to kick off the school year in the fall, they the polar bears come out, the students love them, and they usually do little races and
Cute.
relays
Oh,
with them. Yeah, it's kind of
that
fun.
is so fun.
I love that. Cause what were the options? Were,
Yeah,
like, polar bears
it
and
was polar it was like, an Arctic fox, and penguins was one of them, and I remember thinking, "Penguins? Guys, no. Let's just do the bears." Well, since you are an alumni, I want to hear your favorite memory from when you were a student at Northern.
Okay, my favorite memory.
no pressure.
Just I mean, I can I say I have 2 really good memories. My favorite memory is I was on a volleyball trip and we were headed to North Dakota, and I don't I don't remember exactly what kind of storm hit, if it was like a hurricane coming in or what it was. Do they get hurricanes in North
I
Dakota?
have no idea.
They may possible.
Dust storm.
A tornado. I don't remember what was happening, but I just remember our coach really started to panic, and we just knocked on these strangers' door to see if we could come in for shelter. And we hid in their basement for probably 4 hours.
Oh my.
Our whole
Like, the whole
team the
team?
whole team. Yes, and I think we had just come from, like, a water park. It was after a tournament. We had gone swimming. This tornado, whatever storm hit, and, um, yeah, it was a very fun bonding
That's
experience. They
cool.
had little kids, and they were just enamored with all of us and were
I
like,
I I hope those kids go to Northern.
"I hope so
That would
too."
be
That
cool.
would be so cool. I wanna know, I mean, if these people are still around and somehow hear this, like, please reach out. We wanna hear this from your perspective. That's so awesome.
That would
Can't
awesome.
imagine an entire team coming up to my door and being like, "Can we hide in your basement?" Typically, you're trying to stay out of the basement of people's houses you don't know. Oh
That's
my
great.
gosh.
Okay,
And
what's your second memory?
I think my second memory is just a reminder of what makes Northern so special and what makes our professors and faculty so special. We I was out of after one of my volleyball games, my music teacher had come up to me and said, "Hey, great job tonight. It's fun to watch you play, and I sure miss having you in class." And it just was such a wake-up call and that accountability of, "Oh my gosh, I guess, like, I do matter here, and I'm not just a number, and my professors know my name, and they wanna see me in class, and I gotta get my act together and get to class, and really, I'm paying for this education, I need to take advantage of it." And I think for young kids that are so impressionable, just knowing that their professors care about them and wanna see them do well and get your butt to class, it was just it meant so much to me, and that moment has stayed with me for 20 years.
I I think the professors have good memories, up at Northern, and, I think a good example there, my husband went there, back in 20 when did he graduate? 2015, um, and his professor, he was an electrician. Anyways, he had Spike as a professor,
Oh,
and
great.
he doesn't work there any longer, but he's also the bassist in my band. And it was probably 8 months into being in this band together that he realized that my last name was Robbins. He was like, "So, is your husband Colton?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I loved having him in class." And I'm like, "That was 10 years ago, and
Oh,
you
wow.
remember him?" He's like, "Of course I remember him." Just fascinating to me, and, we've heard a lot of stories like that, and I think that really shows how much every single student matters. I also am sure that there's students that they're like, "Oh, I remember them," and not for good reason.
Not mellow, of course.
No, of course
Me
not. No, no,
either.
no.
Yeah, our faculty and staff are so great. They're so committed. They genuinely love students, and they wanna just make sure that they give them all the resources that they need. They wear many hats, and they definitely go above and beyond.
On that note, can you, tell us all of the names of the people that work specifically in your office, so that everyone can be familiar? I know that my old coworker Marla works there, and I miss her so much, and I'm very jealous of you for getting to work with her. But who all works there, and what do they do?
So, yes, we have Marla Schuland, and she's our director of operations, and Tony Peterson is our director of finance, and then Angela Alstead is our outreach coordinator. And I talk about these women so much at our events and when I talk to other alumni and friends that, I'm just surrounded by women that all have different skills, and they're all so good at what they do. It's, um, it's just nice. We keep each other accountable, we support each other, and it's just been such a great environment to work in, and I really do enjoy going into work every day.
In an office of all women, like, that's so exciting.
Yes.
You guys have powerhouse going on over there.
Well, if you want to make a difference, then that does sound like a fun group to go pop in and say hello to. So,
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for coming in. This has been a great interview. We're so excited about Morgan Hall. I can't wait to come and tour that. If you guys are going to give tours, I hope.
Yes, we will.
That is so exciting. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and for all the work that you're doing up at the Northern Alumni Foundation. You really are strengthening Northern, and that's very exciting to see.
yeah, it's inspiring to see how the alumni and the students and our community members can come together to invest in something that will have a lasting impact.
Yeah, it'll last forever. If you'd like to learn more about the Morgan Hall renovation campaign or how to support MSU Northern, be sure to visit the Northern Alumni Foundation online. And can they find you on Facebook as well?
Yes, they can.
Perfect.
And thank you to everyone listening to Bear With Us, where we spotlight the people and projects building a stronger North Central Montana. And as always, thanks for bearing with us.